Yes, g'day, ladies and gentlemen. Kitty Broom here, and we are live with number 57.
Oh, 57.
That's right, Paul. 5757. And that's well over a year now that we've been giving you updated information on a weekly basis. And this week's no different. We can give you a little bit of information and keep you up to date. Not a great deal happening in our space regarding the contracts, as we all know. But it's great to have the owner of the business, Bill Rowell, on the call when he can make it, to fill us in with any maybe important details or give us some inside information of what's actually going on in the background of the business we're all involved with, about the developments coming up and what the roadmap is for the company. So before we speak to Bill, he's back in Germany, I believe, from Dubai last week. We'll go to our favourite affiliate in the company, of course. That's Claudia Eifert. Good morning to you. It's a little after 11 o'clock in the morning, isn't it? In Germany, wherever you are, Claudia. Morning.
That's right. Hi, Kitty. Good morning. Yes, and it is. And my internet connection is super weak, so I just hear like words a little bit here and there. So apologize. I'm in Germany. German internet is bad, I told you.
Yeah, it's weird. All the technology there, and Australian internet's not very good also. But it's here's a funny technical thing about Australia. They've been talking about the national broadband network, a fibre optic network around the entire country for about 7 or 8 years, and the government's been, well, both, some governments coming in and the next government saying we're going to make sure this happens. We want technology to be charging ahead in Australia, and it's not out yet. Some suburbs around me have it and some don't. And they're putting cables underground in the conduits that they all already have there in place. And in some cases, they're digging new trenches in people's streets to connect them to the house, to the fibre optic network, which is supposed to be super, super fast. But unfortunately, the cost has blown out, that it's delayed the rollout of this network. And I'm on cable internet, which is like Foxtel cable or pay TV wires that are strung underneath the telegraph poles. My cable internet is faster than the current NBN at the moment. That's how crazy it is. So the technology I've been using for the last year is actually faster than the new technology, which hasn't been rolled out yet. And what's happening in Australia, we're on 4G network. Now they're rolling out 5G network very shortly, which I believe is going to be extremely fast. So all this money that the government's spending on digging holes in the ground, then the airborne technology of 5G will be 3 or 4 times faster than what they're putting in. So not only organisations that we're dealing with, but governments and around the world are spending money on stuff that is just being overhauled technology-wise. And it takes governments so long to react. And that's probably a key thing about the technology area that we're in, that governmental agencies, they think about things for many, many years before they actually do anything. And then if the government changes, then that gets held off. So being involved with a private company, Bill's, is something is a little bit better, because Bill's a doer and a shaker rather than the waiter like the government's. We've got quite a few people watching, so hello to everybody. So if, just let us know where you're from in the chat box. I'll say g'day. And Paul on the Gold Coast, how's your internet?
Well, mate, I'm a bit like you. I use the hotspot on my phone. I don't rely on that NBN that goes through the house or whatever cables out there, so I can go anywhere and use my phone, and it's as quick as that I've seen around.
Yeah. Okay. Now we're coming into spring. What's the feeling in the community? Pretty happy about opportunities ahead? Everyone's in a positive frame of mind, or are people just asleep? What's happening on the Gold Coast, mate?
Well, it's miserable weather down here on the Gold Coast. We're all running around still in jumpers. It's terrible. We haven't had much rain, of course. So we're still in drought, but you know, when it's down, everybody's in doom and gloom. Not doom, but in gloom. So hopefully tomorrow the weather will pick up and we'll be back to where we started from. But no, it's all going well down here. Everybody's out and about.
Okay, fantastic. Right. 500,000 people on the Gold Coast. It's a very, very good place to be. I'm moving there shortly because I want to live by the ocean and continue my journey online. And it is a journey, so there's ups and downs. We're in a bit of a down at the moment. We all know that. But there's always a potential for ups. And we all like ups. And no one likes ups more than Bill Rowell, the owner of Swiss Gold Global. He's always on the up and up. Unfortunately, your team got knocked out the semi-final, Bill, last week. One of your key players was injured. They didn't perform very well, but at least they got into the finals and they competed very well all season. Number one all season, but the finals they didn't quite make it. How's things with you, mate? You're back from Dubai. You're in Germany somewhere?
Hi, Casey. Hi, Claudia, Paul, everyone joining us. Great to be on the call again. Sorry I couldn't make it from Dubai last week. The Wi-Fi connection for Hangouts, or unless they block it, I'm not sure, because I do block some stuff there, doesn't actually work. But here we can, here it's working quite well. Things all good, progressing very, very well. Probably Claudia's giving you an update. She's very busy working pretty much around the clock. I don't know when she sleeps, but she does a lot of work in the back end, providing the marketing stuff and different things to our groups. So there's a lot happening, you know. There's a lot in developments, and yes, my team did get knocked out last week. Not that I follow them all that well. I haven't lived in Australia for a long time, but we went there together and watched them play only a couple of months ago, wasn't it, Keithy and Claudia? And they were the top dog all year. And the final game before qualifying for the grand final, stuff happens, huh? They get knocked out. I mean, how upsetting would that be? But that's just the way it is in life, isn't it? You know, it's you can be the top dog all year, then all of a sudden you get cut out from underneath you, taken out by a better team. But that's a bit like in business as well. You know, you spoke about the government. First of all, Australia needs to have a government, didn't they? Haven't they got someone there now that's not even elected? I don't know. I don't keep up to date with it. Haven't they changed prime ministers or something there as well? It's a while since I've.
They got rid of the sitting prime minister within their own party, voted him out, and put somebody else in. So you're right. The people didn't decide. The governmental, the parliamentary group decided. So we've got a new prime minister just like that.
Well, this has happened before. It's not new. So anyway, let's not get into parliamentary discussions because we can get quite passionate about that, can't we? Let's keep passionate about business. You know, actually, the past prime minister, I mean, he was an IT guy. He made his wealth. He made hundreds of millions of dollars from IT. So I thought if he had the power, I'm sure he had the brains. He made hundreds of millions of dollars from that sector. You'd think he'd be able to actually pull off a deal in a good, comfortable, efficient way, given his experience in the business world. But when you've got people always betting to get votes rather than get the right result, that's always a challenge, isn't it? It's not always the right outcome. This is a problem that we have around the world, actually, not just in Australia. But business, you can't be that. You make the wrong mistakes, you pay the price. And that is it. You don't have taxpayers to bail you out, as we all know. We make decisions in life and we do things, and if it works out, it's fine. If it doesn't work out, you know, the responsibility is stuck with us. Touching on the mining side, yes, Genesis have been very quiet on their messaging. I mean, Bitcoin's where it is. I mean, the Bitcoin price is one thing, but boy, the difficulty rate is really hammering. And I know Claudia follows this pretty closely as well as the difficulty rate increasing. So the price really has to break out strongly to be able to get back into that positive cash flow. That's really the challenge. And as I've said before, you know, buying the mining rigs, which we all did, buying these contracts last year, end of last year and the start of this year is one thing. You know, the price of the whole model last year is very different than today. I mean, you can buy mining rigs today probably a third of the price or even less than what you could last year. So it's a completely different market. It's a completely different market. But Genesis, I don't know what they're going to do with it. You know, I mean, time's running out, of course, but I'm sure they're going to come out with something. I'll have discussions with them this week regarding it. And of course, we'd all like to see the contracts extended, but there's going to have to be a pretty miraculous breakout on the Bitcoin upside to overthrow the resistance in one sense from the difficulty rate increasing, because the difficulty rate increases this year, if you look at the graph, has been unprecedented. Actually, it's been huge, and that's really the thing that that I certainly didn't know, and no one really knew. But that's the price we're all paying, of course. But that's why we have to move into diversification. You know, I tell this story every week I'm on the call regarding Robert Kiyosaki, that I put some money into him, quite a bit of money into him back in the late 1990s. And the one deal I lost my money completely, but the other deal paid off very well, and my children still own those shares, those units today. So I sort of hedged my bet there. I'm glad I did. But yeah, no one likes to have a loss. I don't like to have a loss. I like to create things, and the whole purpose of Swiss Gold Global is to create wealth and preserve wealth for our members. And when these types of things happen, I mean, what can I say? It is what it is, and you know, let's see if Bitcoin does. I mean, it's pulled strong, but it still has to go. I haven't checked it, but I think Claudia says it's got to be up near the 8,000 before it becomes cash flow positive. It got very close a couple of weeks ago, but then the difficulty rate actually increased significantly.
Yeah, it's got to hit, on my calculation, around about 8,200 roughly.
Okay, yeah, well, it's a long way. It's a long way. Go ahead, Claudia.
Correct, and we just had the last 90 days, we had a difficulty increase of 41%, so it's big.
I mean, to have a difficulty rate of that increase, I mean, it's significant, and there's been many of these throughout this year, which we didn't have last year in that respect. But so this year has been a completely different, game, and yeah. But that's disruptive technology. You know, you go into things and you don't really have the industry, even talking to these ICO people, you know, people who are highly experienced, and they actually sort of smiled at us. They said, well, highly experienced, we'll have experience in different things. But in this field, it's only 2 years old. So if you have a company coming to tell you that they're an expert in doing ICOs, primarily they only have 2 years experience, because that's how old the industry is. So you have to go deeper beyond that, of course. And, you know, when you come into this, people who've been involved with maybe doing IPOs, which is initial public offerings on, you know, publicly listed share companies and things like that, which is very similar to an ICO in one sense, because a lot of people have come out of the woodwork and promoted, you know, their expertise in this particular field, but much of it is noise. So you really have to do your due diligence there so you don't get caught out. And we've done that, and we believe we're working with a very, very good group now. In fact, there's a group of us, our asset manager will be flying in, Claudia will be flying on the marketing side, our chief engineer will be flying in, I'll be flying into a particular country in the next week to sit down to go over their developments, how far they're advanced, the story. So it's progressing well, and November's coming up very, very fast. So that's where we are at right now.
When you say November for the launch of the new product and the website in combination with the revamp of the name of the company, yes, Bill?
Yeah, that's going to be a two-phase. The first phase is that Swiss Gold Global name will change to another name. It will primarily it will be the gold site. And from that new gold site, you'll be able to log in there to be able to see your Bitcoin mining. You'll be able to see your gold and silver purchases. You'll be able to see all your history. But the new site for an ICO, that could be 2 weeks later. It'll be in November. It'll probably be 2 weeks later, and it'll be transitioned. That will be the new public site. But the first site you're actually going to be getting to will be our gold site, our precious metal site for the Dubai Multi-Commodity Center website. And there will be like a preliminary login there to get you into actually a completely new back office. So you won't have these issues of before, if you're active or inactive, you can't log in and things like that. They'll all disappear. You won't have the what we totally expect. I certainly 1000% expect you're not going to have these clearing cache issues of when you log in and things like that. It should be very, very streamlined, because the whole thing has been, the system we have right now is probably 5 to 6 years old. So it's well overdue for a major overhaul. So we've rebuilt the whole code over the last year. In fact, we were discussing it the other day, Claudia and I, we probably lost, you know, because of these regulatory side of things, this setback we had in one of the regulatory providers, we probably lost, I would say 5 months of this year. which is a real shame because we set our target on a certain path based on the information. This is the right destination to go, and they gave us confirmation of that. And we had 3 physical meetings with them and said this is the way that we should go. And then and we employed our lawyers, and the lawyers said yes, this is going to be an ICO, this is going to be a security token, blah blah blah. And this is as per the request of this particular legal jurisdiction. And of course, we went down that particular path, and at the last moment, the very last moment, they said they cannot proceed. And I really believe it was probably the central bank in that particular region that pulled the brakes on advancing with security tokens at that particular time. They're not quite ready. They probably will do it, but right now. So it means we had to. I didn't diversify to really a plan B because I was pretty confident that the plan A was going to go down the path, given the 3 meetings that we had with these particular people. So, which is bad management on my side. I don't like to always just have a plan A, but a plan B when you're dealing with legal authorities always costs a lot of money too. So I was pretty confident they were going to come through, but they didn't. So we're moving on plan B, and that's why we've lost many months of getting this out. But we're confident it's going to come out in November. Certainly the new Swiss Gold Global name will definitely be coming out in November, and certainly our ICO will come out the later part of November as well. So there's lots happening, and this new platform will do two primary things. We'll give people access to earn good commissions, and secondly, you'll have a stake in ownership of a good asset with a management team who I've known since 2003, 2004, and I myself have invested over $1 million with this particular group of my own money back in 2004. So they're a good, solid team, well experienced, and you'll get to meet them as we move forward as well.
Yeah, well, that's exciting news, Bill, to give us a bit of an insight there. Obviously, with a lot of people that are watching and have joined the business in the last 12 to 15 months, obviously they've been purely focused in the mining, trying to get into that space, the cryptocurrency. A number of thousands upon thousands of people have been your customer for over 10 years with the gold and silver. So now you're diversifying the business to a new product, a new area, but still along the cryptocurrency lines as far as the way the business is run through the tokens and through purchasing through cryptocurrency and the way that's done. So I guess diversifying, not all the eggs in one basket as far as the different products, tokenizing gold and silver, tokenizing the mining, which we buy the contracts, and now the new product will be in a token form as well. So the only the bit in the middle that we're all stuck on at the moment, obviously, is the Genesis part. You're right with what you say that they have options right up to the last minute. So it's the 24th of September today. They're saying the 6th, which is another 6 and 6, 12 days, so about a week and a half before they make a decision whether they come out with something. The good news is if you're chatting to them next week or this week, that you have that rapport with them over the while you're in talking about the mining farm that you want to plan later on as well yourself. So they have 2 million members, which we're a part of. So I guess they don't want to be alienating all of those people. So they, it's hard to say. And I've asked Claudia, but she doesn't know what the answer is. What options they can possibly bring to the table to keep everyone happy and not lose the contracts. I guess if they're not paying, then people can accept that of where the people coming into the mining side and the cryptocurrency side of buying Bitcoin, the price is down. It was just the price right now is 6,600. So it's a way off 8,200 to actually make the contracts profitable again. But having said that, there's little snippets of news that make the price jump by a couple of $100. The SEC was quoted as being interested in getting back on board with cryptocurrency a couple of days ago, and other companies about opening a cryptocurrency desk are revisiting that now. So there's little snippets of information that gets sent out, and then the price jumps by people reacting. It is a very volatile market that we're in, especially with Bitcoin. And the thing is, with all the other ICOs that people may have bought, years ago, like Litecoin, Dashcoin, IOTA, Tron, Neo. I'm just going down the top 20 here: Zcash, Bytecoin, Bitcoin Gold, Qtum, Ox, Maker. All these are basically going off the back of what's happening with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's in the green, then everything else is in the green. If Bitcoin gets sold short and it drops, then everything else goes red. So I guess Bitcoin is the main crypto that everybody follows. Very, unfortunate. Ethereum is so low compared to where it was. It's a shock. But I did get my Ethereum payment 2 days ago for my contract. So I got an unexpected email from CoinJar in Australia that I'd received some Bitcoin, which is all good as far as they're still paying. So diversification for us, we're all super pumped, Bill. We can't wait. And unfortunately, it's just taking a little bit longer than you would have hoped to get to the point where we get our teeth into the new product. And we've all got this energy where it's like one of my dogs down the park. We've got the lead on the neck and we can't let the dog go at the moment. The dog's champing at the bit to get out. Come on, let's go. No, we can't go yet, not yet. And eventually we'll flick the lead on and bang, we'll be away. Won't be able to stop us. So pretty exciting what the options are coming up. And of course, we don't know the full details, which again is get the excitement going. What are the options? What are the details? Can you tell us? Are we there yet? The kids in the back of the car, Bill. Are we there yet?
Yeah. Well, I'm the same way. I mean, we all want to be. First of all, backing up a bit, the trend is your friend, and the trend last year was no question about it. Was crypto. The trend was exceptionally. We're in favour. We're in the right sector, and for people who own cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, you're still in the right sector. No question about that. But the mining, of course, was also in the right sector, but it fell off a cliff big time with many multiple reasons why that actually occurred at the beginning of this year, as we both know, and mostly unexpected as well, and so quick. It was incredible. The diversification is key, but of course we want to make sure that we get it out in the right format and the right message and the right tools for you as well. And the good thing about this particular thing is it's not going to have a time frame on it. That's one thing. You always learn from things, of course, from different technologies. Well, this industry's been around for a long time. It's in great need. It's going to be in great need, even though it's still in transition into new sectors. It's going to be around for decades to come, which means these assets are going to pay out for decades to come, which is really and the person who got involved in it, as I said, he's a young man, he's younger than me, younger than us, Keithy and Paul, but he's run public companies. He's dynamic. He knows he's let's say he's done explorations of over 130 drills himself, sites. So he's very, very experienced in different things. And so that gives you a hint of where we're heading. But it's a resource that everyone needs around the world, and I think this will give all of us a play. One, to give us an income to earn a commission, and two, getting a stake in ownership in your own type of unit will be very, very, very nice. So that's really where we're heading. But the management team is the key thing, because of many of these plays out there, and I know it from the 1990s, the dot-com boom. When there's a strong bullish market in a certain sector, you'll attract players from all different walks of life, and some of them, if you plant your seed in the right time, even if it's not the right seed, it'll still grow. It's just the way it is, But when the markets change, and we are in a very different market now in that sector than what we were last year. You could have done a blowfly ICO last year and raised tens of millions of dollars. People would have just bought it, because it's a very unique, very special blowfly ICO. But that's a very different world today. So we need to make sure that everything is aligned properly, and what we're bringing to you is the real deal, and with the right people. But we're getting close. We're already heading towards the second half or the last week of September. So before we know it, it's going to be November. So there's a lot to do these next weeks.
Okay. Now, one of our guys is Norman's just asked, maybe Claudia can answer this. He's not quite sure how the difficulty rate is worked out just on the Bitcoin mining side. Can you, Claudia, give them a quick explanation of how Bitcoin difficulty rate is worked out?
Oh, okay. So you mean how you calculate it? Well, I mean, the easiest way is there's two sites, which is one is CoinWards and one is the Bitcoin Wisdom difficulty rate. This is where you see basically the charts on the difficulty rate. But it's pretty simple. If you go to calculate it, so you go to Alice Comp calculator, you put in your 1 terahash, because remember, 28 cents per terahash, which is deducted automatically from your payments. So if you own 10 terahash, you got to multiply the 28 cents per 10 times, right? And that is what you're going to take off, of course, on your daily earnings. So if you go to Alice Comp, I can do a screenshot if you like. I can do a screen share if you like. So let me do a screen share here, and then people see that. Share the screen. Okay, so let's say we have a difficulty factor that's of 7.15 and all this long number. So what we have to put in is the hash rate. The hash rate is 1 terahash. We change it here to 1 terahash, correct? 1 terahash. But today's exchange rate, so today's price of Bitcoin is 6,600. So we look here and we see, well, 1 terahash doesn't even pay you yet the maintenance fee of 28 cents. So we are below the maintenance fee. Basically, we're making less than the maintenance fee. That means Genesis is covering the cost. And we don't know how long they can actually cover the cost, because it does actually cost money, of course, to pay the mining farms, to, pay the energy supply and all this stuff. So people sometimes, I don't know where they get those crazy ideas, but it does actually cost to run mining farms, the personnel, the staff, the customer support, the website, the data. I mean, this is all the engineers you employ. I mean, this is all, it's not just like, okay, you put a magic switch and that magic switch mines you the Bitcoin. It's just so many things you have to take care of, which all cost money. You got to pay those people. So don't know how long Genesis will be able to do that. They are covering the cost at the moment. So you see 23 cents. So we have that. Now, if Bitcoin would go to 8,200 US dollar, well, we see we are now in the plus. We are now 0.29. So we're making 1 cent. Okay, we're making 1 cent, we're plus, we're mining, we're in the game again. And even though it drops, we have another 60 days time, which Genesis is again covering the cost in order. So basically, so our contracts stay there. So we have another 60 days. But if currently, that's what we have at the moment. So if we don't get back till, I believe it's the 6th, around the 6th, because the 7th is stopped paying. So if we don't, I'm basically not becoming profitable, well, these contracts get voided. But yeah, I hope that makes it clear.
Yeah, I think so.
I think the other part of that question was actually what causes the difficulty rate to go up, Claudia, rather than just the calculation.
Okay, well, I can explain that as well, what causes. So, I mean, there's a lot of factors, of course, what causes difficulty rate. So what causes difficulty rate is, well, we have a really unprecedented amount of new, very sophisticated, large player competition coming on board. Like Canon, we have Samsung, we have huge companies, we have even Intel now manufacturing new chips and entered in the game of mining Bitcoin. What that means is, of course, so all the little players, the small players, the home miners, all those, they're already wiped out because they're not profitable anymore. So that just I guess 1.5 months ago, it caused difficulty rate to drop a little bit because all those little mining farms, basically they closed down. And then we had, of course, this thing in China where you had this floods and they were wiped out. But of course, since then, since the beginning of the year, because you've got to remember, so people and companies, they actually started to buy more and more of those ASICs, of those mining equipment. So the prices dropped down, Bitcoin dropped. In January, it went back to, I think, was it $6,000 or February? I can't remember. So that means the equipment also did drop in price. Bill said, like, of course, last year, I mean, to buy ASICs, to buy mining equipment was very, very expensive. Then this year, price dropped in Bitcoin. All of a sudden, there wasn't that great interest on buying those rigs because there was, and so the rigs, the manufacturers of those rigs, they actually dropped the price. And so that means now, of course, you know, the smart guys, the big players, they buy when the markets are down. So Bitcoin market went down. And so big players, they actually bought equipment, while of course the little players got wiped out. And so now we have all these new big players coming on board. I mean, Samsung is huge, Intel is huge, Canon is huge. I mean, huge players. And even there's some discussion to maybe there's some, of course, taking over, which is Bitmain. Bitmain is, of course, is the large monopoly they have in the mining industry. So we see all those big players coming on board, and then some have even developed more faster equipment, and they basically come on board, driving the difficulty rate even higher because they have more power, more energy, and meaning, you know, that basically they're mining more Bitcoin. And when you mine more Bitcoin, it's like, as you always said, or Bill said in the explanation in the early days, you imagine you have a cake. That cake is so big. That cake has 12 pieces. There's no more than 12 pieces. So if you have more people wanting to eat from that cake, well, your piece is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. The cake is never going to expand. The cake stays the same. And so that is with the difficulty rate. So we see more it getting more and more difficult actually now, because again, you have these players, big players, who all want to have more of their share. Why? Well, because they see Bitcoin for the future. Otherwise, they wouldn't get even into it. This is a good sign for us because Bitcoin has value.
That's absolutely right, Claudia, and this is really a key point. If you have Bitcoins, I'm personally a believer. It's always good to take your profits, of course, but it's also good, I think, long-term, if you're a believer in this peer-to-peer payment system, long-term, I mean, the price, especially when the halving happens in 2020, no one knows where the price is going to be. I'm quite optimistic about it, but that doesn't mean it's going to be right. So this is really the risk we have associated with it. But as you know, Claudia, I mean, you've been to the mining farm not in Sweden, but you went to the one in Iceland, and I've been in Iceland with you, and also I went to the one in Sweden. I mean, the mining rig itself is just one very tiny component, a key component, because nothing happens without that. But without the structure and everything around it, and when you look at the video from Iceland, I mean, it takes them months to fit these things out. So I don't know how much labor it takes to actually complete this fit out. And if we look at Sweden, I mean, Sweden is absolutely huge. The cost of the actual land and the infrastructure and management of that and the fit out is absolutely, we're talking tens of millions of dollars alone there. And then of course the rigs are put into that. So there's many factors other than just the mining rig itself. You know, I mean, you can't buy a mining rig today and put it in your basement and really earn from it today, especially certainly in places like Australia, you can't, because electricity is too expensive. And that's why these mining pools have worked well. So that's what we're up against right now. But, you know, again, with the Bitcoin price, you know, a lot of the experts, you get mixed views out there. A lot of experts believe long-term it's still going to have a strong price. So, and that's what I'm sort of betting on, because we've all invested money into the mining, and the mining's not paying right now. We don't like that, but I do have some Bitcoin because of that. And I'm certainly holding on that with the idea that, you know, Bitcoin price is going to significantly increase over time, and there I'll still get my return on that. You know, that's sort of my play on it. But at the moment, certainly the Bitcoin mining is not paying. What Genesis do, I don't know. I'll be having communications with them this week, and of course, I don't want contracts to fail. You know, that's absolutely clear. But the big question is, will the payout ever get beyond the 28 cents for these contracts again? That's really the big question. So, but I'll be speaking to them about that and finding out, because they're going to have to make an announcement, aren't they? But they will. But I need to know the game plan so I can give it to you people as well. I mean, I'm batting to get the extended time, of course, but that's not my decision on that.
Bill, well, that's good that you will be going into bat for us, of course, with that relationship you have with Genesis. I hope that answered, Norman, your sort of understanding of the difficulty rate. Well, it's a big pie, as Claudia alluded to. And last year there was a few big players and lots of little ones. But now, because of the awakening of major business about blockchain technology and big companies seeing this whole sector as a way of making millions upon millions of dollars in profit, some of these big players in the technology side have got involved only in the last 6 to 12 months in the production of the equipment. And that means that the pie of Bitcoin being mined every day, the profits made that are given to the miners for providing the computer power for running the Bitcoin network are given to a select amount of people. And we were in a decent slice last year. We had a decent slice, but because more people have come in, our slice has got smaller and smaller. And the profit that Genesis is making with their slice that they were giving out to us has reduced to our 28 cents, and unfortunately now below the 28 cents. And it needs to go to 8,200 to get back up above 29 cents to re-kick their terminology of 60 days in. They do have the option though, and that's what we're all hoping for, the positive news that they realise through any way they possibly can. They'll have options that they can do, taking a loss, or because they've got to run the computers even at 23 cents per terahash. They've still got to run their computers so they earn Bitcoin, even if it's less than their 28 cents they need to make it a profit themselves, and we make a profit. They're still receiving 23 cents a day currently, which they've got to use to pay the electricity, pay the staff, keep their machines running, to keep their operation steady. If they turn everything off, then the money they need to keep their operation running, they'd just be cutting their own throat. So that'll be crazy on their part. So good news, hopefully, that you get in your conversations with them, Bill. Are you okay for a few minutes, or you've got to go, I believe, Bill?
It's okay, Keithy, I'm here. I'll stay on. I'm just working while I'm here. I'm listening in.
Okay, Bill, great.
I am listening.
Yeah, okay, good. Fantastic. Yeah, well, multi-talented, multi-skilled as you are. Well done. So the overall picture, to obviously give, if people have got any questions, Bolivian billionaire said, yeah, that's October the 6th. So we've got, what's that, 6 and 6, 12 days. As we get closer, they'll have to make a decision. There hasn't been much on social media from Genesis because I've been keeping an eye on that. Normally they put something out every couple of days. There's a lot of negativity around from Genesis members who are disappointed. A lot of them don't really understand the way mining works and the way the difficulty rate works, and what Claudia has alluded to. They're not really up to scratch on what's happening in the sector with these huge tech companies coming in and getting involved to make money and make profit. So if people knew that information, they'd be a little bit calmer and realise that Genesis have to make a pretty important business decision, obviously to keep the 2 million customers happy, but also keep their business going. If they make a bad decision, that could be that for everybody, not only the 2 million customers, but their business that they've built up over many years. And unfortunately, what we're seeing in the markets is that Bitcoin's down. I'm just scrolling down the top 20. There's only 2 green out of the top 20. All the rest are red because Bitcoin's red. And when it goes green, all the rest. So it does have a major influence on the rest of the market, the price of Bitcoin. So if things are changed from October, as we're hoping for Bill, for the new turnaround into November now, as you say, it's 24th now. We've got a little under a week and we're into October. Obviously, you'll have some news in the next week or so, Genesis, and also updates as far as our new company unveiling goes, as far as the website and the name. That's all positive to look forward to, Bill.
Yeah, well, next week, next Sunday night, actually, Claudia's flying as well, and a couple of the others are flying. But we'll be, I know Claudia and I will be in transit. I've got a meeting in Dubai Monday morning, and then I think Tuesday we head to the other destination to meet our ICO development team. So we'll try and get in a good spot where good Wi-Fi for you, so we can be on this call again next week.
All right, that'd be great. Yeah, okay, right. And that'll be live at the centre of the new opportunity coming up. So, okay, great. Now, we don't want to take up too much time. It's quarter to 45 minutes. Is there any other bits of information, Claudia and Paul? I'll go through, I'll go to Claudia first, that you want to pass on to people. Is there any news in any other of the coins that we've got? Ethereum, Dash, Litecoin. I know Dash, I was reading something about Dash the other day. It's dropped a little bit, but there's a few other companies getting involved in Dash. Any news you want to pass on, Claudia?
Not in particular on that. I mean, again, like what Bill said, I would, if I was in the shoes, that I would have bought mining and basically like struggling now and thinking like, oh, wow, I made a huge mistake, or I'm losing actually money. I would just keep on hold on to that Bitcoin, you know, because I do also believe, I mean, I don't know, and we don't know. We have to make a disclaimer here. We don't know because nobody knows. But I am a believer that's going to go up. But of course, we have to hold on, and probably the next 2 or 3 years, you know, in order to see these high prices, and they will come with the halving, which is due to in April of 2020. 2020 comes usually after every halving, prices started rally in Bitcoin. That is what we can look so far from the history of Bitcoin, which is, of course, we have a history of 9 years. It's a little bit longer than the history of the other ICOs of 1 year or 2 year or 3 years. So basically, on that, so that's my sort of advice I could maybe give people. But again, you know, and I believe if that happen, so where those prices go, where we believe they're gonna go, nobody else actually had made a loss because then everybody will be fine. But of course, that's the thing. It's you got to hold on to things, and you got to, you know, that's what I can suggest to do in this case now. But if you just want to get out because whatever, you don't believe in the technology anymore, Bitcoin, well, then just get out, and it's your decision. We have to take responsibility in our life for the decisions we do. And on the diversification, which Bill likes to talk so much as well, which is great. And I like to talk about diversification. I just was watching the other day a really great video of Jimmy Rogers. You know, we love Jimmy Rogers, the great American investor. He lives actually in China and because, no, he lives in Singapore, but in Asia, because he believes Asia is going to take over, which is already taken over. I see it in Australia. He actually said the other day, no, he doesn't believe in diversity. If you want to get rich, if you want to get wealthy, you don't diversify. You don't diversify. So, and he's right in one sense, and that's what I have been doing all the time. I didn't diversify. I put all my eggs in one basket when it comes to Swissquote Global. So I'm all eggs, I'm all into Swissquote Global. In Swissquote Global, we have different baskets. Yes, we have different baskets. But if you want to get successful, you got to really put those eggs into one basket and really work the business. So with what is coming, it's going to be great changes, and there will be great value bringing to the people. So I just hope that you stick through that period, which we do have now, and get on board, get going, yeah, you can create wealth.
It's a very, very good point. You've got to keep the faith. If you find a company, keep the faith and hang in there. Stickability, it's called, and not many people have that stickability. They lose faith generally within themselves first, and they don't have that I can't carry on mentality, rather than I'll carry on regardless because I believe I can. I've got the energy, I've got the determination to see the bumps, ups and downs through. Now, I know you're a very stickability type of person, Paul. You've been through many ups and downs throughout your life, as I have, and Bill and Claudia. Your thoughts on the coming months?
Well, we're sitting back waiting to see what happens, I guess. Nobody's got the crystal ball, as everybody says. So, mate, we're in. We're just following along and going with what we can see. And I just tell everybody to just stay positive. Look to see what is coming out of Swiss Gold Global from when Bill and Claudia were here a couple of months ago. So that's why we're here every Monday night, just to see what's happening.
Yeah, that's true. And that's the whole purpose of our Monday nights, just to keep everybody up to date with anything new that's come up, any little bits of information that people may be waiting to hear. There's gold and silver that can go. The mining could be extended. We've got a new product coming on. There's all the umbrella of underneath Swiss Gold Global. And that's a pretty key thing that Claudia's pointed out there, that diversification is good. But if you have the diversification under the one umbrella, one company, where you can show people a place to be, a home, if you like, with different products under that. And many of the big major companies, they all have multiple products under the one roof, as opposed to joining 5 or 6 different companies. You're in the one company with different products under the roof. Obviously, Amway's an ideal, company that has one name but multiple products. All these type of products like that have the name they've built up over many, many years that people identify with, but they have great products underneath that name. So that's I know that's Bill and Claudia's aim, and just looking forward. Can't wait, really. Can't come quick enough to get the new product rocking and rolling, and have these products under the umbrella Swiss Gold Global, the new name when it comes out. That'll be exciting too, to have a bit of a refreshed start, if you like, Bill. So final word for you, mate. Pretty busy over the next 4 weeks, would you say?
Well, it is. It is very, very busy, but it's always been busy. Nothing's really changed. No, we have to get this out. It's really important, and I understand where all the people are. I mean, it's a disappointment for everyone, of course, including ourselves. We all have a vested interest in this, but that doesn't stop us. And one thing doesn't stop us. We have to keep moving forward, because we know that everyone needs to have income diversification. It's not getting easier for people out there. So that's a key thing. And I was chatting with Claudia last night. She's a great researcher. She was saying Jimmy Rogers, actually, he's investing in Russia. He's investing in, I think, former, what was the name of the African nation? Zimbabwe. These guys are risk takers. They do their research, they do their diligence. And when other people are looking and getting into other things, these people are going into trending markets, emerging markets. They're not foolish. They don't put all their eggs in there, but they get in there because they know there's going to be a lot of upside on the long term, and it's a long play. To create real wealth. Okay, we can get lucky and create a few bucks maybe overnight in a few months with some of these concepts, but it's all about sustainability. It's all about sustainability. These mining contracts are all about sustainability. We'd love to have them as open-ended, meaning that they're around for the next 10 years. It'd be fantastic. And if that's the case, but they're not paying at the moment. But so the business idea we're on now is all about not just generating income. It's going to be about sustainability. We don't want to get in the same situation again. So that's what we're doing, and we've got to keep moving forward. The worst thing you can do, the biggest risk anyone can take, I believe, is to stay still, is to stay idle and play safe. If you play safe in life, you're never going to get anywhere. You're never going to live a fulfilled life. But with that said, if you're taking risk, you need to manage your risk. Very, very important. Not to be foolish, not to be blinded, not to let your emotion overrule your common sense and decisions where you can put yourself and family at risk. That's the most important thing that you should be able to do. So, be open, be engaged, keep moving, and manage your risk. I think that's really important things to do, because we all have that one big thing, the one big idea is going to come down, and the magic wand is going to make us wealthy and generate us millions of dollars, and that's going to set us free and change our life. Well, for 99.999% of the time, for most people, that ain't going to happen. And you've probably got a greater chance of lightning striking you, but certainly we can, with a good plan, with good people, with good assets, and with good products, we can generate income over a long period of time in a sustainable way. And I think that's the important thing.
Yeah, yep. That's spoken like a true leader, Bill, as you are. That's why we're all here on a Monday night. We believe in what the opportunities are with yourself, Claudia, at the helm, guiding us in the right areas. I'm so looking forward to the next few weeks, months, and years, mate. Basically, that's what we're keen as mustard. Can't wait. So thank you, first off, Claudia, for coming on this morning. Off for another bike ride or wherever you're going to go this morning. I don't know where. It's nice and early for you.
You got it. That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Oh, on the push bike and down the road. Okay, good. Paul, off for a round of golf. Well, no, it's 10 to 8 at night, so you won't be doing that unless you're going to the driving range.
No driving range today. I'm going to watch a replay of the mighty Tiger Woods winning the PGA Tour event, mate.
Oh, Tiger. Well, there you go. Tiger Woods has finally won a tournament. He was leading by 3 strokes. Hasn't won a tournament for 5 years.
Yes.
Talk about stickability. That's timely, actually, very timely. That with all his controversy and his mind games and whatever and everything, he's stuck through the worst times and come out the other end and picked up $1 million or whatever for winning the tournament.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great story. That is, yeah.
He may learn something, or maybe with his stickability. I believe Bob was mentioning one day. I remember Bill. I think Bob was mentioning he was coaching Tiger Woods, or had some lessons with him. So you guys on the call should go into your back office and download Bob Proctor's. You were born rich. That it sticks actually in the mind.
Yeah, I mean, those programs, you can't underestimate them. I mean, yes, Bob does coach golf players. I don't know if it was Tiger Woods, but actually the golf player, he was a professional on the circuit. He was actually at one of the events. We met him. I can't recall his name. Sorry, Paul, I don't follow golf so much. I like to drive the buggy. That's about it. But yes, that's very, very true, Claudia. Don't underestimate those programs. And when you're going through tough periods, I can tell you right now, everyone on this call and everyone has been through challenging periods. When you get into challenging periods, it's time to go deep within yourself, and you need to program your brain. You need to be very, very strong and focused where you're going. And sometimes you need some help. And those programs are fantastic programs to help you do that. They what's the word? They revitalize your cells and your thoughts to get you in alignment to where you want to go rather than where you don't want to be. And if you keep focused where you want to be, you'll get to that destination. So don't let other people distract you from your goals, your vision of who you are. You are what you are. You're great, and you can achieve anything that you want. And sometimes these programs, like the Born Rich program that we have there, is outstanding. And I still go through it myself. You know, when storms are heavy, you've got to dig deep. You know, and this material is there to help you, and it's very, very important. Interesting, Paul, too, that Tiger Woods. I mean, it was actually Richmond Collingwood. It was Tigers played the Woods last week, but a different outcome, huh?
Yeah, that's right. No, well, fantastic. Thank you, Paul and Bill and Claudia. You never give up.
Just so you know, I've been invited to Amsterdam by my oldest brother. He lives there. He works at Doctors Without Borders. I'm going to be going to the Drover's Dog Cafe in Amsterdam next Saturday morning at 6:30 in the morning. Can you believe it? To watch the grand final live.
All right. You're going to the Drover's Dog. That's a very Australian named cafe in Amsterdam.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be drinking beer at 6:30 in the morning, but yeah, I'll go there. But we'll see. It'd be great to catch up with my brother there. So all the best.
Okay. All right. That's it. Stay positive. If Tiger Woods can keep smashing balls day in, day out for 5 years and then get back to his winning ways, we can certainly have that persistence right here at Swiss Gold Global with Bill and Claudia leading the way and empowering us with energy, which we all take on board. Thanks for watching, everybody. Some great questions, some great hellos from people around the world that we get every week. And hopefully we can catch up with you guys next week, wherever you are. If you get a Wi-Fi connection, good. We'd love to catch up with you next Monday night, whatever time that is, Monday morning for you guys. And that's it for number 57. We'll keep rolling these out, keep informing everyone. We're positive we can get our building generational wealth thing happening. That's what we're all about. So thank you, Claudia. Thank you, Bill. And thank you, Paul. Goodbye. Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you, folks. Bye-bye for now.